Good morning, grade 4. Welcome back to grade 4 mathematics class. How are you all doing today? Let's see a few questions from the mixed bag exercise given in page number 61 of your textbook. So all of you please turn to page number 61. Now the first question, it says Mr. Krishna has rupees 5,848 in his bank account. If he withdraws rupees 1,956, how much money is left in his account? So what is mentioned in the question? What is the amount of money he has in his account? It is equal to 5,848. So when he withdraws an amount from this bank balance, the total balance will get reduced. So how do we find out the current balance, or how do we find out the amount of money he has in his account after this withdrawal? You have to just subtract the two amounts, right? So in the beginning he had 5,848 rupees in his account and he withdrew 1,956 rupees from it, and the difference of these two amounts will give you the balance in his account. And what is it? It is equal to rupees 3,892. You can work out the subtraction in the working column of your notebook. Now, if this question is clear, let's move on to the next one. Now, question number 2 says, in a school assembly, 725 students are standing in rows and columns. If there are 25 rows, find the number of columns. So, here I have a picture for you. See, there are some dots arranged in rows and columns. How would you find out the total number of dots in this picture? See, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 columns and there are 1, 2, 3 rows. So the total number of dots will be the number of rows into the number of columns. That is 3 into 4, which is equal to 12. Now, what if we know the total number and the number of rows? We can easily find out the number of columns from that data. So here in this question, we are given that there are 25 rows and there are a total of 725 students in the school. We need to find out how many columns are there when they stand for the school assembly. So how can we find it? We have to divide the total number of students by the number of rows. So that would be 725 divided by 25. Now the divisor is a 2-digit number. So we need to check the first 2 digits of the dividend. It is 72. How many 25s are there in 72? There are 2 25s. So 25, 2 here, 2 25s are 50. So when you subtract, what do you get? You get 225 here. So now we need to divide 225 by 25. So that would be equal to 9 25s. So 25 9s are 225. When you subtract, you get the remainder 0. So when 725 students were divided into 25 rows, there were 29 columns. So the number of columns is equal to 29. So is this clear to you? Now there is a question, a value education based question. It says students of class 4 have put up an exhibition on global warming. 750 parents visited the exhibition on the first day and 289 parents on the second day. How many parents visited the exhibition in the 2 days? So we know the number of parents who visited on the first day. We know the number of parents who visited on the second day. So how do we find out the total number of parents who visited the exhibition in 2 days? Just add the two numbers, the number of parents visited on each day. So that would be equal to 750 plus 289, and you get the total number as 1039. So in 2 days, 1039 parents visited the exhibition. So is this clear? Let's see the next one, the life skills based question. As part of the environment club activity, a group of students collected 32 newspapers from each block of an apartment. If there are 112 blocks in the apartment, how many newspapers were collected in all? If 8 newspapers can be recycled into one notebook, which is to be donated to needy children, how many notebooks were donated? What value is seen in this action of the students? Create an interesting object with recycled material. So what is mentioned in the question? This group of students collected 32 newspapers from each block of an apartment. And how many blocks were there? There were 112 blocks in the apartment. So how many newspapers were collected in all? Let's see the steps. So number of blocks in the apartment is equal to 112 and the number of newspapers collected from each block is 32. So the total number of newspapers collected is equal to the number of blocks into the number of newspapers collected from each block. So that would be equal to 112 into 32. Now you can do this multiplication in the working column of your notebook and you will get the total number of newspapers collected equal to 3584. Now it's also said in the question that if 8 newspapers can be recycled into one notebook, which is to be donated to needy children, how many notebooks were donated? So you need to find out how many notebooks can be made using 3584 newspapers. So 8 newspapers can be recycled into one notebook. So how many notebooks can be made from this? How do we find it out? We need to divide the total number of newspapers by the number of newspapers needed to make one book. So that is number of books donated is equal to the total number of newspapers collected divided by number of newspapers needed for one book. That is 3584 divided by 8 and that gives you 448 notebooks as the answer. So how many notebooks were donated? 448 notebooks were donated. Now there is a second part to this question. You have to think about what value is seen in this action of students. You can write about it in your notebook. There is one more interesting activity given there. You can make something very interesting using recycled material. So when you submit the answers to this exercise in Microsoft Teams, you have to take a picture of the object you made with recycled material. Please upload that picture also there. Now let's see the next question. It says Shashank and 2 of his friends went to buy notebooks. The shopkeeper said if you buy one notebook, it will cost you rupees 46 each. But if you buy a bundle of 5 notebooks, it will cost you rupees 22 each. Shashank and his friends decide to buy a bundle of 5 notebooks and 1 notebook separately so that they get 2 notebooks each. How much will each child has to pay? What is the cost of one notebook in this transaction? So what is mentioned in the question? So Shashank and his friends bought some books. The shopkeeper had told them if they buy one notebook, each notebook will cost them rupees 46. But if they buy as a bundle of 5 notebooks, then each notebook will cost only rupees 22. And what did Shashank and his friends do? They decided to buy a bundle of 5 notebooks plus 1 notebook separately so that they get 2 notebooks each. So how many people are there in total? Shashank and 2 of his friends. So there are 3 people in total. Together they bought 6 notebooks. That is, they bought a bundle of 5 notebooks plus 1 notebook extra. So they bought a total of 6 notebooks and there are a total of 3 people. Now each of them will get 2 notebooks. Now we need to find out what is the cost of one notebook in this transaction. So how do we find it out? Let's see the steps. The number of people, that is equal to 3. That is Shashank and 2 of his friends. Number of people equal to 3 and the number of books bought is equal to 5 plus 1, that is equal to 6. And the cost of one bundle will cost them rupees 22 per notebook. So the cost of one bundle is equal to 22 into 5, that is equal to rupees 110. And cost of individual book, that would be equal to rupees 46. So what is the total amount they had to pay? They had to pay a total amount of this rupees 110 plus rupees 46. So that equals rupees 156. Now this was the total amount they had to pay and there were a total of 3 people. So the cost has to be divided equally among the 3 people. So that will give us the amount each one had to pay. So that would be equal to 156 divided by 3. And you can work out the calculation in the working column. Now when you divide the cost among the 3 people, you get that each had to pay an amount of rupees 52. So this is the amount each child had to pay. Now we are also asked to find out what is the cost of one notebook in this transaction. So each child had to pay rupees 52 for 2 books, and hence each notebook would have costed them half of 52 rupees. That is, the cost of each book is equal to the total cost divided by the number of books. Each child had to pay 52 rupees. We are also asked to find out what is the cost of one notebook in this transaction. We can find the solution in 2 ways. Each child had to pay 52 rupees and each child got 2 books. That means for one book they had to pay 52 divided by 2, that is equal to 26 rupees. Or else we can do like the total cost was 156 and they bought a total of 6 books. So 156 divided by 6, that is the total cost divided by the total number of books they bought. That will give you rupees 26 as the cost of each notebook. So children, I hope this question is clear to you. Now the next exercise is mental maths. It says, who am I? Question number 1. I am a number greater than 20 and less than 25. When I am divided by 11, I leave a remainder 2. I am. So here you are asked to find out a number and it says the number is greater than 20 and less than 25. And which are the numbers greater than 20 and less than 25? They are 21, 22, 23 and 24. Now when I am divided by 11, I leave a remainder 2. So what you can do? You have to check which number among these when divided by 11 will give you the remainder 2. And that is the answer to this question. Now the second one, I am a number less than 60 but greater than 48. When I am divided by 6, the remainder is 0. I am. So which are the numbers less than 60 but greater than 48? They are the numbers from 49 to 59. Now you have to check among these which number when divided by 6 will give you a remainder 0, and that will give you the answer to this question. Now there are 3 more questions mentioned in the mental maths exercise. You have to read each question carefully and answer accordingly. Now children, let me tell you the activity for the day. You have to revise all the concepts you learned in this chapter. You have to complete the mental maths exercise, and also there is a maths lab activity mentioned in page number 62. Go through that as well and do accordingly. So that's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, bye.